Okay, on this episode of Studio Knowledge, we are talking interfaces. Okay, interfaces. This is what's going to convert the audio, the analog things that you're recording into a digital signal. Analog to digital, A to D converter. Okay, and then we control it using our computer, and then we use it to convert from digital to analog, or at least into a new format, MP3s, WAV files, all that stuff. Okay, so what interface or what type of interface should you use? For me, again, it depends on what you're using it for. If you are going to be recording a whole band, you need at least 8 inputs on your interface. A lot of interfaces you can actually add two. Excuse me. You can add two. For a long time, my interface, which I still use, is a Digi 002 rack. I bought it when that was brand new, so 14 years ago. But I've since had it upgraded, and we'll talk about that here in a sec. But I was recording drums, and so that has 4 pre's and then 4 more line inputs, so 8 altogether, which I use preamps to have the signal go in there. And then I also had a Presonus Digimax Lite, which had 8 more inputs, and I could connect them through light pipe. And I could have added another 2 channels for 18 total, but I only needed 16 at the time. 8's kind of the minimum, especially if you're going to be recording drums. You can get a good enough sound, and we'll talk about that later, but get a good enough sound with 8 microphones, okay? But if you are using drum samples and you just need 2 inputs, that's fine too. That's all you can afford, or that's all you really need it for, that's great too. Now, how are you going to connect this? Is this going to be a USB interface? Is it going to be FireWire? Is it going to be Thunderbolt? Or maybe in time some other new connection? It depends again on how much audio is going through there, what sample rate you're going to use, but you can get away with even use USB. I've been using FireWire for a long time because, again, that's what I had access to, and it has lower latency because it's having so much information travel through. But now, again, you do have USB 3 and Thunderbolt, and those work even faster. And someday I will upgrade it, but for right now, that's what I've been using. Okay, so with my interface, like I said, I have the 002 rack, but I've sent it off to Blackline Audio. Now, Blackline Audio is a company based in Chicago where they upgrade your interface with higher quality preamps, the internal clock, the power supply, all kinds of things where it's like you're using a really expensive interface. Like some of the really nice ones are made by Prism, and that's like, last time I looked was like 13 grand or something like that. Even if you go Pro Tools HD, those interfaces can get pretty expensive. But because I also trust Blackline Audio, I trust their opinion on the schematics of other interfaces, because they'll show not only where the interface is at, like when they get it, is what it's going to be after the fact, after they do their own thing. And that kind of lets me know like the sound quality that I'm going to get with those interfaces. A lot of popular interfaces, ones that are made by RME, that's probably one of the most popular ones. It's the one that I've heard a lot about from the guys over at Sweetwater. Another great one is Focusrite. That's one of the ones that I recommend when you're kind of just starting out. They have really good 1 and 2 input interfaces that are a few $100. Again, that's a good way to get started. And Apogee, also another great company that makes really good interfaces. So figure out how many inputs you're actually going to need. Figure out what you're going to use it for, and make sure, again, your DAW is going to work well with that interface. Most digital audio workstations work well with just about every interface. Even though I have a DigiDesign, which was then bought out by Avid, I can still run my 002 with Logic. So again, all that information is online. And if you haven't checked out Blackline Audio, that's a good place to start, to where you can get a really good quality preamp, or excuse me, interface with good preamps, good signal, and for a fraction of the cost. You can sound like a much bigger studio with that. Okay? I hope that answers any questions you have. If you have any other questions, please ask in the comments below or on the website, and hopefully we can get those questions answered for you. Okay? So again, I hope this helps, and we'll talk again soon.